you do for a while? You doing all right? Been hunting and fishing?
I'd only get 3 minutes, so.
There you go. We're blessed. I'll tell you what, it's every day is something new.
You darn skippy.
You too, sir. Tom, you want to start eating?
Just old shirts.
Just
fat shirts.
Just buy bigger shirts.
Yeah. Let's see. There you go, sir. Are you going to speak? Yeah. Y'all wouldn't listen. That's okay.
We listen to everything you say, Tom.
Yeah.
Sure.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Bullitt County Fiscal Court. Today is the 15th of March, 2022. At this time, if I could have Magistrate Ray Hill lead us in invocation and Pledge of Allegiance.
Everybody heads, please. Father, we love you today, Lord. We thank you so much, Lord, for our blessings, Lord, the ones we see and the ones we don't, Lord. Lord, your word says if you ask for wisdom, you would give it to us abundantly, Lord. Today we're asking for your wisdom, not ours, Lord, not personal. Do what's right for this county. Lord, we ask to bless each and every person in this room. Give them favor, Lord. And Lord, we just love you and praise you. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Thank you all. Thank you, Magistrate Ray Hill. Here you go. I'll share with you. At this time, Candace, if you would call the roll to call the court to order.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Loxton?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Here.
Mr. Raymond?
Yes.
Thank you. Treasurer's report, Canan.
The Treasurer's transfer report, Judge, was dated for March the 15th of 2022 for your approval.
Put it in form of motion.
Second.
Got a motion by 1st District Magistrate Mitchell, a second by 2nd District Magistrate Logston to approve the Treasurer's transfer report as presented. Any discussion, members of the court? Hearing none, Candace, call the roll, please.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Loxton?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahill?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Presentation and approval of all bills.
I had to add a couple of GLOSIS reports went out. One of them was for DC Communications for $625 for the animal shelter, the truck license they put on there. And then the other one is for Kentucky Agriculture, for the drug department on their liquor license. And it was $30.
Okay.
Well, I'll make a motion that we approve all bills in addition to the two just presented.
Second.
Got a motion by 2nd District Magistrate Logston, a second by 4th District Magistrate Ray Hill to approve the bills as presented. Any discussion, members of the court? Hearing none, Candace, call the roll.
Mr. Loxton?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahill?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Treasurer's report, Canan.
Yes, Judge, and that's included in the report with the appropriation condition report, a revenue journal, a budget report, a warrant distribution, and a financial statement for February the 28th of 2022.
Make a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Second.
Got a motion by 3rd District Magistrate Laswell, a second by 2nd District Magistrate Logston to approve the Treasurer's report as presented. Any discussion, members of the court? Hearing none, Candace, call a roll, please.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahill?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Loxton?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
You're welcome. Number 7, approval of the minutes for March 1 of 2022. I have one
correction to what's inserted into the packet on the B-Days shift supervisor. There should be $1 an hour raise instead of no increase.
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes dated March 1st, 2022 with the change by Judge Summers.
Second.
Got a motion by 2nd District Magistrate Logsdon, a second by 4th District Magistrate Rayhill to approve the addition to the minutes of the March 1st, 2022 Bullitt County Fiscal Court meeting. Any other discussion? Hearing none, Candace, call the roll.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logsdon?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. We do have a presentation today. Sheriff Scholler has an accommodation or a presentation for Deputy Cody McCubbins.
Thank you, Judge.
sir.
Deputy McCubbins, if you'd step forward here, please. I want to introduce you to the Fiscal Court and the people of Bullitt County. Ladies and gentlemen, Deputy McCubbins started with the Bullitt County Sheriff's Office as a court-certified security officer back in May of 2017. He worked there for the next 4 years, did an outstanding job providing security for the courts, for the judges, for everybody, the thousands and thousands of people that come in and out that door over there. And then in June of 2021, we hired Deputy McCubbins as a deputy with the Bullitt County Sheriff's Office. He started the police academy at Department of Criminal Justice Training in October of 2021. And I might note that you may remember, you may or may not know, but the police academy got pretty well shut down for months and close to over 18 months. They suspended classes, and we've only had the opportunity to send 2 people to the police academy since I've been sheriff, and Cody being one of them and Deputy McKagan Perkins being the other. Deputy McCubbins graduated March 10th, 2021. He received the Coordinator's Award for outstanding participation in every aspect of the academy from the time he started till the time he ended. And that is a very prestigious award that is given to one person out of the class. Deputy McCubbins stands as an example of the integrity, fidelity, and honor of the new young folks that are coming into law enforcement across this Commonwealth and across this state. He is an example of what's going to keep our community safe into the future, and I wanted to introduce him to the court, to all of you folks, and to the community, and welcome. I look forward to a lot of good stuff from you, Cody, and anything that you may wish to say other than hello, feel free.
Pretty much hello, and I hope I make everybody proud of Bullitt County. That's pretty much what I'm set out to do, so thank you.
Thank you. Sheriff, thank you. Deputy McCubbins, thank you, and welcome to the law enforcement agencies here in Bullitt County, and we know you'll carry yourself well for us. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, we have no old business. Under new business, we did receive a packet back. We put out the RFP for fiber optic for Solitude, Browningtown, Cedar Grove, and Zolton, and it's in your packet, gentlemen, and it is from Windstream. We'd like to bring them in either the 5th or the 19th of April to discuss their proposal with the court. And it was the only bid that we received for fiber optic.
You don't need any action today if you plan on bringing them in, do you? Are you just going to wait then, or you need?
No, I'd like to, well, I would really like to wait until then to bring them in. I just wanted to make sure that the general public was aware that we only received one bid for fiber optic, and that's 1 gig of it through areas of our community that without the ARPA funding, the opportunity would probably never be available. Is that fair enough, members of the court?
Just make a motion that it's okay to bring them in.
Yes.
Make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Got a motion by 4th District Magistrate Rahal, a second by 2nd District Magistrate Logsdon to bring in Windstream, it's the parent company of Connect, to present their proposal to the Bullitt County Fiscal Court for fiber optic, 1 gig of it, with Browningtown, Solitude, Cedar Grove, and Zolton on either the 5th or 19th, depending on their availability. Candace, call the roll, please.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logsdon?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Thank you. The second item is a discussion of the red light on Bogart Lane. And what we're here to present today is we would like to partner with the city of Mount Washington to split the cost. In the last estimates that we had for a red light at Bogart Lane was somewhere around $75,000. I'm sure it's either went up or maybe we could get lucky and it's went down. But I would like to, for the Bullitt County Fiscal Court, and we can discuss this, to partner with the city of Mount Washington to pay for this light so we can advance it up into the system for the Kentucky Department of Transportation.
Is it 75, is that a match, or is that what?
No, the 75,000 was 2 years ago when COVID hit, and we used that funding to feed the seniors. That was the cost at that time for the entire project, Magistrate. So, you know, if we split it, it could be somewhere, there's been a 10 or 15% increase in most, what I'm going to say, projects, what we've seen since the advent of the ARPA funding and in the new day post-COVID, or what COVID was, so.
Because I know the state, they okayed it, finally raising up, you know, for them to okay it, they just didn't okay any money.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm good, if we get bids on it to,
Okay.
I go by there every day, my brother lives back here, it's
Yeah. I used to live off Bogart, and I don't currently now. I moved since then, but I know Sheriff Scholler is back there off that road as well, and with the increase of homes built from Rivercrest and the school, Pleasant Grove, it's been a hot topic, I know, on social media for the longest time, even, you know, the last 3 or 4 years, really in particular. So I think it's definitely something that the community wants, the community needs, and I know there's several city council members here, Troy and Greg from Mount Washington here even today. Thank you all for being here. But I think with that partnership and being able to partner with them, it'll save everybody some money and not wait on the state to make something happen. Let's make something happen ourselves. And I know it's really needed in that area.
Okay.
Well, state will pick up the tab on it for the maintenance and everything. Will they do that?
Yes.
They will.
Moving forward.
So right now, what do we need?
I need a motion to approve splitting the funding with the city of Mount Washington.
It's a real unique spot because we kind of look at each other because, you know, it really affects entire Bullitt County, but also affects several different magisterial districts. I mean, we've got, it's kind of the point where the three of those come together, and it's really a kind of a critical spot there on 44. So, I mean, I'll second Joey's motion.
I just make a motion that we, you know, look into get pricing and partner with Mount Washington for them to pay 3/4 of, half of
They like that.
partner with Mount Washington for the light of Bogart.
I'll second it.
Okay. We have a motion to partner with the city of Mount Washington, split the cost equally with the, for the red light at Bogart Lane and Highway 44. Any other discussion, members of the court? Motion was made by Magistrate Rahal, second by First District Magistrate Mitchell, and
Third by Second District Magistrate.
third by the Second District Magistrate Logsdon.
Something we can use our money for? It's kind of a safety.
It's safety. Yeah, we'll look at that. Okay.
Sure.
But anyway.
Well,
Judge, I applaud you all doing this for one, and I'd like to make note, the sooner the better in regard to this. Although, when those lanes, those turning lanes were put in, it made for more efficient travel up and down Highway 44 when everything goes well. It actually made the intersection coming off of Lloyd's Lane or Bogart Lane more dangerous, because now instead of having 2 lanes that the person trying to get out into the traffic has to be watching, we now have 4 lanes that they have to watch. And it's, you know, it's, human beings are not as good multitaskers as we like to think we are. And when folks are having to keep track of cars coming in all 4 of those lanes, it has caused an increase in the number of collisions that we've had there.
I notice sometimes people have good intentions of being a good Samaritan, but sometimes that causes even more problems. I know a lot of times when I traveled there, you would have individuals try to wave you on, come on out, and sometimes that causes more problems because of visibility and so forth. So, yeah, I'm excited to see something moving on this, because there's been a lot of conversation about this for a long time, so now maybe we can start, you know, making something happen.
Okay. Any other discussion, members? Hearing none. Candace, call the roll, please.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Thank you, Candace. Motion approved then. Actions requested, we have Janice has been busy. We've been interviewing for full-time employees for EMS. Their list is attached. There are 4 full-time EMTs and 2 full-time EMT advanced. And we applaud those who keep going to school and improving their knowledge for our public safety as well. And Kimberly is, she's a current EMT. We're hiring her full-time, but she's also in paramedic school as well. And I'm going to make that motion.
Second.
We've got a second by 2nd District Magistrate Logston. Any discussion, members? Hearing none, Candace, call the roll.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Number 4, actions requested on hiring Amanda Joyner as a kennel attendant, part-time at $12.25 an hour. And I'm going to put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Got a second by 4th District Magistrate Rahal. Candace, call the roll.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Actions requested to surplus a printer from dispatch. And the list is attached.
Put it on motion.
Second.
Got a motion by 1st District Magistrate Mitchell, a second by 2nd District Magistrate Logston to approve Ms. Miller's dispatch director, her surplus the printer, the HP OfficeJet Pro 8720. Candace, call the roll, please.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Thank you. Also, on number 6, we're requesting action to surplus the television from the fiscal courtroom, which the last time most of y'all was here was half distorted. We have a new one that we have purchased, a new Samsung. So anyone who's interested in a distorted 75-inch TV, we need permission to surplus it though.
I'll make that motion to surplus the television from the fiscal courtroom.
Second.
Got a motion by 2nd District Magistrate Logston, a second by 4th District Magistrate Rahal to surplus the distorted television from the fiscal courtroom. Candace, call the roll.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Thank you. Also, actions requested to surplus the vehicles from the road department, and that's our aging fleet that we just replaced as well.
Put it on motion.
Second.
Got a motion by 1st District Magistrate Mitchell, a second by 4th District Magistrate Rahal to approve the list presented to surplus the vehicles from, what I'm going to say, all the different departments of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court that's over at the Road Department. Candace, call the roll, please.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logsdon?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Raheel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes, thank you. Okay, at this time, we need two things. One, we can do the public comments, or we can take a brief executive session that'll take just about 10 minutes or so, maybe. Is the folks here? I don't see them yet. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll start with the public comments. Charles, I can't read your last name from, where you at, sir? Price. Okay, which one? Bill? Okay, come on, Bill.
A lot of these may be the same topic.
They are.
All of them pretty much. They may.
Yep.
Morning, morning, guys.
Morning,
ladies.
Bill.
It's good to see everybody's smiling face.
Yep.
I'm glad to see the growth in the county as it's going. I think you all have managed it really well. I really do. But it's caused some problems, and all over the county, not just in my area and Southeast Bullitt community area, we have a water drainage problem, and it's getting to be rather severe. And looking in the area around the warehouses that we have built, I noticed in the containment fields, one of the containment fields, which is it's in the building right adjacent, or right across the street from Bullitt County Supermarket. They have cut a V groove right into Long Lake Creek to drain their water containment areas. They did that because they were overflowing, and it was causing them problems, I'm sure. Excuse me. As we grow, and we take up land that absorbs water, everybody here realizes that water has to have somewhere to go. Beech Grove Road area, I understand, is having a lot of erosion problems and water buildup in that area because of Long Lake Creek going in that direction. Our area, we've been watching as it slowly creeps up Chappie's Road toward the Springs subdivision, which is, in our group as Southeast Bullitt community, and we're becoming concerned about it. And I know as things go on, there's more warehouses being built, less ground to absorb the water, more water runoff. It's just a natural thing of growth. What we're looking for you all to consider and put your ideals behind this is to impose a tax on the large warehouses, considering the square footage of the warehouses and the blacktops where water cannot be absorbed or where the runoff has to go. To impose this tax to be used, a square footage tax to be used to improve the drainage in this area and throughout Bullitt County. If you talk to the people in the Point, they've had problems for years. I've been talking to them in the last 2 months. I've talked to homeowners that have had to put sump pumps in their crawl spaces because of the water buildup, which is on the west side of I-65 and railroad tracks adjacent to all those warehouses being built in Shepherdsville. It's caused them water problems also. So we need a solution to the water. We're talking to the city council members, I get the same deer in the headlight look. We have no money, it's not our job, it belongs to the county, it belongs to the state. You all have heard those answers 1,000 times. So we're asking you all to impose a tax or consider it, a tax that will not affect our small businesses, but there's a line there somewhere where these warehouses need to be responsible for their drainage, for their water runoff. Being illegal to run your water on somebody else's property, we all realize that. Long Lake Creek is an old blue line stream, been there since way before we were here. And if you go up and down that creek, there are numerous places where fallen trees are blocking water drainage. It's still living in the 20th century, or maybe even the 18th century, 19th century. It's been there a long time, and there's been no improvements. So I'm hoping. I haven't really looked at around the Point in that area there, but I know they have serious problems as 480. Bells Mill Road, I've had friends out there that have talked about some of the drainage problems they have out there, but they're sitting higher. My main concern is Southeast Bullitt community and the county as a whole. We want to be able to get this water away from our homeowners and keep the damage down. So I'm kind of asking you guys to get together, and ladies, and consider a, tax, square footage tax on the blacktop, the ground levels that these people install that do not absorb water, that run it off. We have no place for this water to go. We have pictures where at some places the water, for instance, at the intersection of Chapeze Road and 61, where that water was 8 feet deep in a 3-inch rain. Now, 3 inches is a lot of water, but this was over a period of time on that day where we got this. 3 inches is not a total downpour. Y'all know we've had bigger rains than that. Right. So there's more damage coming. The more buildings we put up, the worse it's going to get. So we need to really get a grip on this situation and consider ways to attack it. And talking with a few of our members and other people throughout the county, we really believe that a tax with your all's oversight and consideration, for smaller businesses and businesses that it shouldn't interfere with, because everybody hates that word tax anyway. I hate to even use that word, but it is what it is. They are responsible for the water, and it is creeping forward to homes. Beach Grove Road, those people are going to need life preservers. That field on the immediate, at the intersection, in Bardstown Junction, in that area there, those cows in those areas are going to need life preservers. I've recently, in the last rain, took pictures in there, and that water was 3 feet deep, covering all the way parallel down through the, parallel to the railroad track. And it has flooded there more than once, I realize that, but it is getting worse. So I feel like that we need to consider a solution to this problem. And the city isn't going to do anything. I look at them, we've talked to them, and I hate to use the word dysfunctional, but that's the first thing that comes to my mind about city council. When it comes to spending another nickel, and it is difficult, and I thank you all for the management that you've given to Bullitt County. I think we've done well. Jerry, under your leadership, I think the county's doing really well. Thank you. But please start to consider how this water is going to flow and how it's going to affect my neighbors and the rest of Bullitt County, and see if we can find a solution to this. And I suggest making the people that are responsible pay a little bit extra, because they're causing the problem. Right. And we welcome them as business in the county, but along with the benefits, they need some of the responsibility. Okay. So if you all can, please consider this, however your process is, and we hope for the best. If not, I know there's going to be a lot of houses in the next 10 years underwater. It's coming.
Okay. We truly appreciate your comments, and we will look at this. We just recently approved at the last meeting what I'm going to say, high-end engineering firm to help us moving forward, because this is these are occurrences that we've seen with growth, and we'll look at your thoughts and see what we can do. Revenue streams are difficult for counties. I really want to be upfront with you on that now. So, and I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm not saying it can be done, but we will look at it and see what we can do.
It's odd. I've looked at Jefferson County's solution to some of these problems as they grew. And oddly enough, there's a creek that runs, it intersects Shepherdsville Road, runs all the way to Preston Highway in that area there, and it's called Long Creek. Everybody used to refer to it as Fern Creek, but at the map it's Long Creek. And they dug that creek off. It is a natural blue line creek. They dug it out, enlarged it tremendously, and it solved their problems, mostly. There's things you have to continually do, but I think you really need to take a close look at, and our area is Long Lake Creek, and maybe cleaning that up and widening it and deepening it to help the runoff there. But really caught my eye was when they dug that hole out on that containment field there for their water, which was overflowing anyway, but they dug that out to drain their containment area for the water straight into Long Lake Creek. And it's starting to be a mess, has been for a while. It never has, that area there has always been low, but it's really, as I watched it and we've watched the levels come up, it's creeping closer and closer to our people, Joe, our subdivision, nice homes. And some people are starting to get rather nervous about it. So appreciate your help.
Yes, sir. All right, thank you.
Just quick, we noticed, and even on subdivisions that people coming in, our problem in Bullitt County probably for years is this infrastructure wasn't probably, we was maintaining it forever.
Yeah.
We got into a position where we've got a lot of people into it. So as we got together as a thing, and the planning and zoning is working on it, but every subdivision, every warehouse that was promoted to come into the county, first thing we told them is we need a drainage. We need a certified division of water drainage thing. First thing they do is say, we don't need it in the county, let's go to the city. So that's kind of...
And the city says the same thing about go to the county or go to the state.
Right, so the whole process is, like you said, is if we can do that, whatever we can do, getting revenue, trying to put a tax on something is the hardest thing in the world to do. But, as we can do it as a county level, we're trying to work on your point on. Every person that has, they're making wealth off of a situation. Need to help whatever they're buying is.
Yeah, I'm not interested in hurting the smaller businesses, like our barrel houses. We're, to my knowledge, I'd say 90% of the people in our area are happy with the barrel houses that, you all engineered the planning on that with Beam, and it's worked out well, and Beam is a responsible neighbor, and everything looks really good, and they're not a problem to us at all. But the water creeping off these mega warehouses is really starting to be a problem across Bullitt County. It's not just in my area. Right. And the point, I don't see how those people, they've gone continuously to the city council to try to resolve things, and they get the same thing all, continuously. We don't have the money, or I won't mention any names. A couple of weeks ago, I had a city council member tell me that it's the responsibility of the landowners. If you butt up to the creeks, you're supposed to keep the creeks clean. And, when you're talking about Long Lake Creek, that'd be a heck of a job. Now, if it's a little ditch in front of your yard, that's one thing. But that's some of the feedback I've gotten from city council.
Right.
We went to them because they annexed the area. I feel like since they annexed it, that should be their responsibility. But they're passing the buck, and they're broke, I guess. Who knows? I don't know. Budgets are very fluid, depending on what you need. But we would appreciate you all looking into this matter, and hopefully that is, it's a way to where we can generate the revenue to get this done. It should not hurt these big mega warehouses. I'm sure they've got what little that would cost them. They've got the money to handle it.
It would even deter them to come,
Well, I'm not interested in slowing growth. I know that. I would say that. Now, I do thank you all for the reorganization of I know that we've made some major changes on changing 245 as a tourist corridor, and I hope we stick to that. I know there's always going to be a little overflow here and there, and nobody's happy 100% of the time. But I trust you guys. You've done a good work with us, and I think we worked well together. But kind of speaking here for all of Bullitt County, I think Mount Washington's even got some of their problems that I've heard of in drainage, but they sit a little higher than a lot of people. And it's been a constant battle throughout the county on drainage, and I think it's time that we address that problem.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. Mr. Hibbs, there you go. Fine. How about you today? Good deal.
I agree wholeheartedly with what Bill said, and the last little comment he made, thank you all for listening, about the 245 area. A couple Audit Place residents, Bernheim Elementary, some families that dropped their kids off there. Planning and zoning just approved to build that it's got to come to you all for that 400,000 square foot warehouse right there by the Bullitt County Fairgrounds. And as he mentioned, that's the tourist district. That's where we want everybody to come and go. Another concrete monstrosity is not needed there. Families, some homes, maybe some houses or something would be good. If you've ever pulled out of Audubon Drive in rush hour or evening, it's crazy. I mean, you're taking your chance, your life in your hands every time you try to cross that lane, and people turn in Valero trying to stop because they're coming on that roadway. All they're thinking about is getting on 65. And you begging and pleading somebody to let you out, not counting the school buses. And then you got parents and younger families that may, as Walt was saying, they don't pay a lot of attention. They got 2 or 3 other kids in the car, they got their phone, everything's going off, and they're trying to cross that road during rush hour after they just dropped their kids off. So the residents in elementary and some of the ones at Miller's that live down 245, I told them I'd come here and speak today because they knew I attended the meetings. And if you all get to see that, I appreciate your consideration. If anything, set at the Valero. Just watch it in the mornings and the evening.
Right.
And you can count how many accidents, you can just draw them up, how many accidents could have happened, and hopefully none do, and nobody loses their life. But another monstrosity is just going to create the same problems he's saying, right there. And it's supposed to be our tourist district. You can go down there, welcome to Bullitt County, where our visitor bureau is. And I think overall, I guess, like he's saying, I don't know if a tax is the answer, but start looking at, where we want to put the warehouses and keep them away from some of the subdivisions and some of the houses and something different, or, we got the new exit, maybe that's where, we decide that's where we're going to put them all. These concrete monstrosities are taking up everything in Bullitt County, and we're all for growth and making things better. But at what expense for the residents and the people of Bullitt County?
Right.
But I just appreciate your consideration.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Hibbs.
I'll let probably Mr. Ray Hill talk more to that, but I do want to, I could probably speak on behalf of most of the members up here. I know I was disappointed to hear about the warehouse coming in, because that was a surprise to me as well as I think a lot of people this week. It kind of seemed like it kind of slid right in there. But correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that particular instance, because we had high expectations and hopes for that property that adjoined the fairgrounds. I personally feel like there's so much potential with that Bullitt County Fairgrounds, and there's a lot of ways to improve that particular area, but we even allocated a significant amount of money to help that exit and do different things, and then we imposed some things. But the issue, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that property there is already in the city limits of Shepherdsville. They annexed that property, so that will not be coming to us for a vote. Unfortunately, we have no control over that. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that it was already zoned, it was zoned industrial. So with that even being said, correct me if but I don't think that they even have to vote on what they're going to do there on it. I think that the zoning's already in place for them to do that, unfortunately, because like I said, I know myself, I think I travel to Litchfield a lot back and forth, and to me, that 245 exit's kind of no disrespect to Lebanon Junction, but Lebanon Junction's the first stopping point of kind of coming into Bullitt County, but there's a lot of tourists. If you're going on that Bourbon Trail or going to Bardstown, that's where most people are getting off on 245, and with our fairgrounds being there, we were really hoping that was going to be an anchor, and it still is, but unfortunately, that was some disappointing news to us. But I don't know, Judge and, Rob, you can maybe clarify what control we do have, but even the planning zoning, when that comprehensive plan's put out, that's a kind of a guideline, a set of recommendations, and then we try to impose some additional things that I think may help if something does go ahead and go on with this property with a warehouse. So they're going to have to do some things that they may have not ever done before, but as far as us dictating what goes in there, unfortunately, that property, Joe, is that right? Has it been annexed in the city of Shepherdsville?
The thing is, what we can do is again, I don't want that stuff, but I don't want to come to your house and tell you you can't build a garage. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to impose the big government on anybody. I don't want people to do that to me. But what we can do is, what we have done is that property, he could have built a 1 million square foot building there if they wanted to. We put the restrictions on there with the walking paths and the trees and the sounds and everything, where he had to scale that down to a little less than 400,000, which is still, it's a warehouse. Right now they're proposing to do that to get it passed to. It's not set in stone yet. It's just like our distillery was there, and then all of a sudden it's not there.
No funding.
Absolutely. So yeah, and that's the only property, and it had to be the first one, that's zoned out. So but the rest of them, but that's right there, it's zoned out.
And to help you, Mr. Hibbs, with all that, if it hadn't been for us doing the corridor, there would have been no restrictions. We would have had something that looked like the corner of 61 and 245. And we worked them really hard, putting what I'm going to say, making sure that they complied with everything that we were doing.
Very pleased with Ray Hill and what all he's done over there.
Yeah, and thinking that they would go away. But all of a sudden they kept making things smaller and smaller and smaller, And we were aloof that was even put on the agenda Thursday. But the city of Shepherdsville had annexed that through that property owner many months ago. And this is something that, moving forward, I'm hoping with the change in leadership in the city of Shepherdsville that there'll be more, they'll work with us more.
And that's
because
kind of what Bill was saying. I've done the same, had to deal with the same thing, but yeah.
Yeah, well, when we look at the city of Mount Washington, Lebanon Junction, Hillview, Fox Chase, and all the rest of them, the relationships are sound, and we do have a good relationship with the city, but when it comes to what I'm going to say, gathering up revenue, it's totally different. I mean, we turned down a big subdivision on 61. They trotted right down the road and annexed it. And the same is true with this. But moving forward with the corridor, here's what you need to realize. Any other thing has to come before us, because there's not another piece of property down there except for Jim Beam and Four Roses that's IG. The rest of them's all, what I'm going to say, for homeowners and also ag. So they will have to come back to here for changes.
Good.
And then that will be that will be our benchmark moving forward. And like Magistrate Rahill said, there was an opportunity for a distillery to be there.
Yep.
And maybe this one will not come to fruition too, but we don't have unfortunately, we don't have the final say about that. And this has been a bone of contention with the cities and the counties, not just here in this community, but in other communities throughout the Commonwealth as well. And regretfully, we worked so hard on that corridor to facilitate a need for all the residents through there. And disappointment's tenfold here.
Thank you.
So, but we do hear you. We're here to help, and this is where we're at with it. I just can't tell you how sorry we are that it is coming.
I appreciate it. And to echo what Bill said earlier, and that's one of the things I think we as a fiscal court, all of us have to be conscious of, and whether there's a city council, if you're a city council member, Shepherdsville, Mount Washington, Hillview, wherever it is, I think we all got to continue working together. And I think over the last few years, we've made some really good strides, with strengthening relationships with different mayors and city councils among the county. But we're all in this county together. But unfortunately, there is a lot of finger pointing at different times about who's responsible for what. And that even comes down to a pothole. Is that a county road or a state road or a private road? But of course, the bigger issues are the drainage. And I know Dennis has mentioned it time and time again, and that's something over the last few years we've really tried to do, as Joey said, down to the residential subdivisions is if a developer comes to us, we want to see a drainage plan and a traffic study, and some have bought into that and others haven't. But I know with Felicia, where did she go? I seen her just a minute ago. Felicia's in the back, we did just hire an engineering firm, as the judge said, so we're hoping that's going to be a big plus and a big asset to the community and to developers and to us as far as providing some guidance, about what needs to be done. But, the biggest challenge is the community even understanding a lot of times how these decisions are made. We have our planning and zoning, planning and zoning board, and there's a lot of members that sit on that board that make a decision, but that decision is really just simply a recommendation. Then the city council, if it's in an incorporated area, they make that decision. If it's unincorporated, it's a decision that comes before the fiscal court. Now, Tom, I don't know. I'd love to know the percentage, but I dare to say it's probably 80%. The fiscal court, speaking from all of us up here, we take a lot of heat sometimes. A lot of people says Bullitt County's kind of turning into a warehouse community, but I will kind of point fingers here because I know in the last 3 years that I've set up here, there's been very few, if any, warehouses that actually have came in front of us to be voted on, and most of those, I'd say 80%. I don't know. That's just throwing a number out there. Maybe you're saying it's higher, probably closer to 90 or more. It falls within the city limits of Shepherdsville when you drive along 65 here. So as a result of that, I'm not pointing fingers or throwing anybody under the bus, but a lot of those decisions will fall back on the city council, in particular here in Shepherdsville, or whether it might be Hillview if you get up towards Brooks, But with that being said, we can't turn a blind eye to that. We got to continue working with those individuals and try to find a solution, especially if people are cut, because that's a county issue. It alarms me to hear that, somebody's cutting a ditch basically to let overflow water go into a creek, because you wonder what other issues, wastewater, or any, ground surface water, that's an environmental issue that's concerned. And I'm sure that's something from a county standpoint we can definitely look into and see what's going on with that. But yeah, we do got to work together with these communities, and so that we are not just a warehouse community. But I just want to say that, not trying to defend ourselves here, but it's tough. It really is tough, because there's so many different levels and different people that can make decisions, and we can have our firm beliefs up here, but then if they go to the city of Shepherdsville and ask to be annexed, which they did in this particular case, and I know there's quite a few others that's talking on this topic, but it's very frustrating, because a lot of us up here had high hopes for that 245, and it may not come to fruition like the judge said, but regardless, by us looking at that tourism corridor and putting some stipulations on, I think it's caused them to scale back maybe half the size of the building and create some walking trails and do some different things that may not have been there before. But we do really got to try to protect this county any way we can.
Okay. Thank you. No, that's okay. The soapbox is ready for you if you need it. So, Larry, Correll from Kent Drive, you want to speak?
Morning, my name is Larry Correll, a resident in Plenmar off 245, Middle Peak. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I'm in the right church? The wrong church, right church, or wrong church, right pew. So because I was going to speak in opposition to the warehouse on 245. And just briefly, without being too redundant, I think the environmental impact, the impact on the residents in the area, my neighbors, friends, are all opposed to this. Mm-hmm. You've got a gem in Bernheim Forest at 245. You've got a beautiful natural corridor starting that will be the starting point for the Bourbon Trail in many cases. And to take this away from the community is, we just have to stop and say, enough. Your comment, if you want to build a garage and 100 people don't like it, too bad. I'm going to stop you. There's got to be a point where it stops. And we've got to get some sanity back in everything. So that's all my comments.
Okay. Mr. Correll, thank you so much for your comments. Ms. Perkins?
Good morning.
Morning.
My name's Denise Perkins. I'm also a resident of the Meadow Peak neighborhood off of Plenmar, 245. As Larry said, I think we're in the, this is the wrong forum. Apparently this is a done deal. But so I guess my question changes for the county. What can we do about the traffic situation if this warehouse is going in there, period, or, should it fall through like the distillery? A couple of weeks ago, 7 full minutes to pull out of my neighborhood. 7 minutes is a long time. If you sit and count to pull across 2 lanes, taking a left, that's a long time to sit and wait. And then you have the situation at Bernheim, which has already been touched on, and I know at least some of you know personally the situation from taking kids back and forth, or I used to be a bus driver also, and not 1 week went by that I thought, that's it for me, my kids, that's, because we're getting ready to get hit. It's such a dangerous intersection. So what can we do if this goes in, is for the county logistically to handle this traffic situation? And I guess that's really my only comment further, since, it looks like I don't know how to get around the Shepherdsville Council thing if they can just annex land. As just a resident, a person that doesn't know how everything works, we look at it as whenever they want, but we can't vote for these people. You understand this, the situation. So it's very frustrating as a resident, and as members of the community who try to be a part of the community to better the community. We've been saying for years that the 245 corridor there, the beautification thing is wonderful. There are different businesses that can be brought in, not blanket across development, because there are so many different options. People come from around the world to visit these, that don't have to be warehouses. So going forward,
And to help you, Denise, the 245 corridor, there's a real nice plan by the state that was put together a few years ago, and we're supposed to be at the top of the list next year. We'll see how we shake out. Myself and 6 of the mayors are going up to make sure our road plan is still solid with the state representatives. So let's just pray that it comes through, because it will address those concerns right there with the Bernheim, with the Bernheim Middle School and traffic on that end of 245. It's supposed to be a nice, what I'm going to say, 4-lane with a, sort of like Conestoga over here, with a grass divider to make traffic flow the right way.
Judge Summers, is there some sort of time period that they think that would be completed in, or is that still?
Well, no, the last time we chatted, it's supposed to start next year in 2023.
Okay.
I mean, we've been after this for quite a while to get it completed, because they're coming from the other end. Senator Higdon's taking it out of Nelson County, bringing it literally to the Bullitt County line from Flagey Hospital forward too. So this is where we're at with it. And I would love to tell you it was going to be done, but in the 3 years I've sat here, and that's why we did the red light today. So, and that's a multi-million-dollar project. The easements and the engineering's done with the project, which is a huge part of it. So, environmental. And this is where we're at with it right now.
All right, well, thank you. We'll be watching for it.
That's what I know, and that's what I'm praying it's going to stay. That one in East Blue Lick, well, East Blue Lick's up where the hospital's at now, the new hospital. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Question for, just an answer that was on my mind, is the city can't take your land unless you ask them to take it?
Absolutely.
So
Thank you, Mr. Rahal, because we've wondered, because if you're not connected, how does it just be?
They call it a corridor annexation.
Okay.
They run the sewer line down through there, they annex the sewer line.
Yep.
The property, so it's weird. We've been fighting it for years, trying to figure out how they can do it. They annex down the middle of a road, but we still got to take care of the road. It don't make sense.
Right.
They annex the road, but you have to ask for it to do it.
Okay.
And that's the problem. And I was going to mention anybody, if you know the Myers family,
Yes,
that owns
sir.
that corner.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if we can say that or not. But,
No.
But somebody made an offer for that property,
Yes, sir.
and they took something else. So if we could get them to see, what, but if you know the Myers family, it's a little bit difficult, but yes, if they would just, they would see what, but again, same with the cities and the counties, it takes money to do whatever we need to do. And when we see money, that's, the cities see the money, and, they got revenue, they've got bills, they can pick up. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong,
Right.
but it takes revenue to do anything. And, that's why everybody's juggling to pick up this land. And then I've talked to the Meyer brothers a couple of times, but I would love them to consider different offers. So in that resistance, so the cities, they have to be asked to take it.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you, Denise. Randall Scott, Loversville League.
My name's Randall Scott. I live right off of 245 on Chapiz Lane. And I just understand about the warehouse being out of your hands. But my biggest problem is, it's like it's been stated, that the school buses and the soccer moms trying to get out of Bernheim area. So I was asking to see if we could have a magistrate or a police officer there. 3 o'clock in the afternoon is rough right there. I mean, it's terrible. And it's gonna be, sometime in the near future, something bad gonna happen right there. I mean, I know we got constables and stuff like that could be there, like Charlie used to do.
Right.
Charlie was there quite often.
He was there all the time,
Yes, yeah.
and in the mornings too.
Yeah. And I'd like to see somebody there to kind of help with the traffic flow. And Jerry, you talked about the beautification of 245.
Yeah.
Where's all these warehouses gonna stop? It's gonna look pretty down through there with all these warehouses.
Well, let's put it this way. We have to approve the zoning changes moving forward.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I think it will end right there.
All right. Well, thank y'all.
You're welcome. Brian Blingell.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, members of the court. My name is Brian Blingell. I'm also opposed to any new development until any infrastructure is able to support it. Traffic at Bernheim Middle, Audubon Drive is terrible. It's a nightmare, mornings and evenings, like people have stated, the buses. My wife's a bus driver. She can attest to that. Then you have all the shortage of bus drivers and added parents, having to pick up their own kids because that bus driver wasn't there or they just don't have one for that route. And some of this stuff is beyond your all's control. I understand that. But as the gentleman stated, Sheriff, is there anything that we could get, like a deputy out there in those?
Here's the trouble that we have on deputies right now. We have a total of 22 deputies patrol Bullitt County, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And so the daytime, I typically have 4 deputies to cover 300 square miles. We get 30,000 calls that we have to answer. I have folks call and say, why didn't you have a deputy over here at this time? Well then, so I go back and I check and I have dispatch run the record for me. We have this computer-aided dispatch service, so I can look back at the computer, and what I find is that my deputies were all on call somewhere, because we get almost twice as many calls as the city of Shepherdsville gets, and the city of Shepherdsville is the next highest up to us. So we get a little less, we get about 43% of all the calls for the police in the county. Okay. That's Mount Washington, Shepherdsville, Hillsview, Pioneer Village, Lebanon Junction, and so forth. So I just don't have manpower to take and dedicate somebody out there to take, because my folks are all out somewhere else. Now, what we can look at doing, and if there's any volunteers, anybody out there, retired police, anyone that might be willing to volunteer their time, we have a reserve deputy program, and I'm going to take and look into seeing if I can take and get some of any of our reserve deputies may be willing to go out there and provide that service, but I don't have the manpower to take and devote a paid deputy there, because they're out covering 300 square miles during that period of time.
I understand that, so.
Okay.
Maybe Shepherdsville could help a little, because they've annexed some of that property.
Well, right there at just, I don't know if they have where Audubon Drive comes out, but they do have the intersection of 65 and 245. Sure. I know they have that. And what else they may have, and otherwise I'll just leave that to Shepherdsville.
All right. Thank you for your answer on that. And then I know it's tough as far as, like you said, having the manpower, having the money, taxes, all that. So, but Judge, you mentioned that it can stop at these properties, but couldn't the owners of these properties that are ag, couldn't they ask the city of Shepherdsville to annex them also, if they got an unfavorable request from the zoning board?
Yeah, but it would take a while.
Right. So I mean, that can happen too, which I understand, and after it does, then that's out of your all's control. But I'm just opposed to any development till the infrastructure's there. I'm also opposed to this kind of annexing. You drive down the road, 245, they've annexed those warehouses, but they don't have any of the stuff in between until you get to about Forest Hill, I think, right there. So, but there's also another matter I'd like to address, and that was the report of the audit of Bullitt County Fiscal Court from Mr. Mike Harmon. the Auditor of Public Accounts from Frankfurt. He mentioned that for the last, at least number of years, I'm not sure, but at least the last 3 or 4, there's a repeat offense of the county employee timesheets that do not reflect actual hours worked. It says most employees work from 8 to 4 daily and leave during this period for a lunch break. However, their timesheet reflects 8 hours worked each day. This would include the lunch break. So employees that are paid hourly are being paid for time spent not working. And then there's also salaried employees who work overtime, said they do not account for their overtime worked on their timesheets. They just take off at a later time because they're not allowed overtime. And they keep track of their own overtime hours, and that kind of looks like that should not really be done. You know, everybody just keep track of their own hours. That's an honor system thing. And some people could abuse that. But your response, Judge, was that we have an updated employee handbook that clearly states what a workday is. But however, I am an employee, Bullitt County Road Department. That handbook is very vague, and it leaves it up to the discretion of the director to set the time. And I know at the road department, this isn't the case because you and Magistrate Rahill came over there 2 years ago, and effective January 30th, we work from 7 to 3:30. So we are there 8.5 hours, and we take a half hour for lunch. So I'm just wondering, when you were over there then, you said it was going to affect all departments, all hourly employees would be doing that. But this is January 30th of 2020, and now it's March 15th of 2022. So that's over 2 years. So why hasn't that been implemented to other departments?
And to help you a little bit, it has been implemented. It's just the process that they go through of taking it off the, what I'm going to say, off of the audit. When you see the next audit, it'll be clean all the way around. And I was totally surprised to see that repeat this time because we had quite the discussion with them.
Yeah. It says 2019, 20, 21.
I understand.
Fiscal years,
and
June 30th.
Yeah, with a little bit of respect here, that's been going on for multiple years before we even got here, and it's one of the first things that we attempted to correct, and we did correct. It was basically because we couldn't get FEMA money because folks weren't working the way that they should.
Okay. So would that reflect here at the courthouse also because hours are 8 to 4, so shouldn't they be 8 to 4:30?
The hours here in the courthouse are set the way that they are.
Okay, so hourly employees here would just get 37.5 hours?
Our employees here get a full day's pay.
So are there hourly employees in the courthouses?
We have a sanitation group.
And that's the only hourly?
That's all we have.
Okay. All right, well, that makes sense then. So that's kind of what I was bringing up about the salaried employees. A lot of people that were hourly were changed to salary during this administration. So that just kind of covered that, other than the sanitation people, so the people that work for maintenance or janitors or that. So,
so I think its time is up.
Oh, so I get a time limit, but nobody else does?
Oh, yes. It's 3 minutes. Well, go ahead. Speak your mind.
What about the night meetings? Do you think we could implement the night meetings coming back?
We will see about that when COVID is done and over.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Tammy Wimel.
Hi, I'm Tammy. I'm a Bullitt County Public Schools bus driver. One of the more senior drivers there. I just want to address some things. Not that I expect that there's a solution right off. Just want to kind of give you an idea. Obviously, wrecks are going to happen, and we all know how 65 gets around Shepherdsville area. We all start out as subs with the bus driving community, and I have drove all over the county. The roads are not the problem for me, or most drivers. Narrow roads, whatever, I mean, we're trained well, we know how to navigate them. The issue has been the traffic with the growth of the county, which I know you can't stop growth, okay? But it's just became real apparent. When it's something you do daily, you see it. You see small changes, you know? Going back to a more recent wreck that was on 65, it literally gridlocked Shepherdsville. The problem, I see is we have emergency services trying to get to people, respond to things, and they were unable to do so. And we had students on buses that were picked up at like 5:30 in the morning, okay? And literally, they were some of the students were on the bus till noon that day. We couldn't get forward, we couldn't get back, there was nowhere to go, you were stuck, Now, you can see where the issue lies. I mean, restroom, food, needing to eat. That's something minor in comparison to what if there had been a medical emergency with one of them children on the buses, okay? So my whole point of this is not to point blame or, give credit to us bus drivers. I'm just trying to get across to you guys and plant thoughts in your mind with further growth of the county that the infrastructure needs to match the growth, because it's not only gridlocking us, the emergency services, like I said. I mean, obviously, I know the proper procedures just from being a regular driver, but as a bus driver, getting out of their way, so they can get around to get where they're going. But I see oftentimes, it's just, they have nowhere to go, and you can't take larger vehicles off-roading, So, like I said, I just wanted to plant that thought in your mind that it definitely, the improvements need to be made before more growth comes in. The infrastructure has got to be brought up to speed, because it's not going to be long before something bad really happens. And again, I know I'm touching base on something everybody's talked about today, the Burnham situation, okay? Like I said, I'm one of the more senior drivers, and every day, I mean, I've got about 60 kids sitting behind me trying to get out of there. And I mean, I don't mind doing anything. I'll drive snow, ice, whatever, but getting out of there every day is almost like send up a little prayer and just, hope you make it across. And I don't know circumstances of people's personal situations, okay? But in the past, we've had people come up there and try to help with traffic control, and they disappear often when elections come or whatever, okay? And like I said, maybe there was personal circumstances around that, but there needs to be something, I don't know what, okay? That's brainstorm with me here. There needs to be something put in place meanwhile, until hopefully, maybe the plan, like you said, where the state comes in and the road improvements come, okay? But there's got to be something put in place before then, because if not, something really bad's going to happen. Those buses are overcrowded because of the shortages, okay? Legally, they're not overcrowded. They can carry up to 66 passengers on some. The newer buses are 3 foot longer. They can contain up to 72 kids, okay? But imagine a 66 or a 72 passenger vehicle pulling out and a car coming down through there or a semi and T-boning them. That's not something you guys want or any parent wants to hear. And my fear is eventually that's going to happen. Okay? And I'm not trying to speak things into existence, because dear God, please don't let that happen. But it's really scary getting out of there daily. And if you guys can work anything, try to come up with some kind of ideal for that meanwhile, until we can make improvements. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good point. Brainstorming, I mean, I might be speaking out of turn, but I've often thought this, I look at my district, Mount Washington area. We've got Pleasant Grove Elementary and East Side, and you see traffic and cars backed up on 44, sometimes a half a mile, and then they're going down subdivisions. But then when you look to the left of both of those schools, you see 5, 10 acres of open land. I just don't understand, even as a school, why they don't design some of their traffic and their roads to get the people off these main highways. I look at Pleasant Grove and cars are backed up in subdivisions on 44, and you look to the left of the school and you got a whole big field not being used. Why can't you, make a road to get all that traffic off there? And then over 70% of our tax bill, if you've got a $2,500 property tax bill, $1,700 or more of it's going to the Bullitt County schools. The county, we're lucky to get $180, $200 out of that tax bill to kind of control everything. The school has money, and we've had members even come to, get caution lights and stuff, and I often wonder, why does some of that responsibility not fall back on our schools? Constables make just a couple $100 a month. I mean, I might be $300, I don't know, $250, $300, but to ask them to go there every morning, every afternoon, that's a big commitment for them, because, they're not making a whole lot to do that. So then you start to think, you hear Sheriff Shoulder's response, I see Jefferson County struggle with, bringing resource officers in, they're looking at that. I often think that as much as we pay in taxes to the school, there ought to be some responsibility there about governing that traffic at that school that day. So, I don't know, that's just on my mind. I'm not pointing fingers directly at the school.
Like I said, I'm just planting seeds and thoughts in minds of people, just to give you kind of a day in the life of what I see and
But I want to commend you personally for, I know you all have had some struggles as bus drivers this year, and I want to thank you. I've got a daughter that's in Bullitt East and a son that's going to East Side, and they've had some tough weeks, whether they don't even know if a bus driver is going to be there. So, I mean, for you to be committed, and I want to applaud you, and my hats is off to all the bus drivers, and anything that we can do as a community to support you. I know there's kind of been a campaign going around. I mean, you got my support. I mean, what you have to deal with on a daily basis, and we really need that, because the more students that ride the bus, the more it does eliminate traffic problems around school and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of days I love to take my kids, but I also feel like it's kind of doing a community responsibility by them riding the bus, because it saves a lot more cars going in and out of there as well. But thank you for what you do, and we do got to brainstorm. I mean, what we can do as far as traffic's concerned, and whether it's but I often wonder, I look at schools, whether it's Bullitt County or whatever county it is, but I feel like there ought to be some more responsibility there as well to govern that traffic and get them in and out. But if you look at a lot of these schools, even the design of how the roads are, it really amazes me. I mean, I just said that, but you drive by and you see a huge field and you see all these cars backed up, and I always wonder, why can't we just pave a road there and get them all off there, or do a pickup at a different spot of the school? But yeah, we do have to work on some things.
Okay. Lucille Beckner? Hey, Lucille.
Good morning.
Okay.
I like the green, getting ready.
Okay, yeah, I've been biting it a bit. Okay, I'm not going to help the traffic situation. I might be the same or maybe worse. And this is kind of like an idea on the fly, as if you're at lunch and you're going to write down a paper napkin. So it has not been researched. But when I heard about the warehouse at 245, I thought, okay, wait a minute. It's going to be a distillery. It's going to go align with the tourist corridor with all the amenities that's on 245 on into Bardstown. The sweet spot, it may not cost the city or the county anything. The revenue would come from the distilleries. Right there, next to the fairgrounds, you build, or somebody builds, the welcome center or a visitor center or tourism information for the original start. Louisville's trying to steal it from us, but the original start of the Bourbon Trail. So you get all of the bourbon industries together. I suggest you meet at Bernheim Forest in the Sassafras Route, a neutral area, but near that intersection. And you have a meeting with the distilleries, have them fund it to build that tourist attraction right next to the fairgrounds, right next to, not far from Bernheim Forest. The winery's down the road, there's Jim Beam. Get an idea, if the city has to do it, if it's out of your control, get an idea to them that this is a perfect spot to put a attraction, they could even make it elaborate. And, has interactivities and stuff that would involve bourbon. And, it'll be a plus for the area. And whoever, I don't know if I heard this right or not, but whoever owns that property, if they're still kind of considering selling it to them or not, or I'm not sure if I heard that right, if there's a way that you can get them to sell it to the bourbon industry. And that way it accents the area, it goes right along with it. It's not going to improve the traffic, might make it worse. But, and I have to agree with the moving all that property on schools. Look what they did to Love's. They moved the entrance to Love's down the road. Mm-hmm. Well, they can do the same thing possibly with Bernheim Middle to make it safer for the kids. So, but that's just my idea. Like I said, it's a napkin, roll on napkins.
No,
I kind of think, anybody ever think of this before?
It's more than a napkin idea, because it's one we've talked about a lot. We'd love to see something like that happen, but that's why it was a little disappointing this past week to kind of hear about the possibility of a warehouse coming in there, because we do see that as an anchor property and a lot of potential. Unfortunately, it has been for sale for a while, and we really hope somebody was going to step in there, but nobody has, and apparently, there's talk about this happening, so it's a little frustrating.
Yeah.
But that's an amazing idea.
But, the bourbon industry will benefit from this. And so, they got money, they can do it. So that's just my idea on the fly.
Okay. Thank you, Lucille. Any comments, Dennis?
No, I'm fine.
Sean?
No, I want to recognize and admire the Bullitt East Lady Chargers. I know probably everybody here heard about what they played in the state championship on Saturday night, and they had a really good season. So the state champion runner-up, but they came close to winning the state championship. Got beat by Sacred Heart. Sacred Heart, I think, won it last year, so they were back-to-back champions. But Bullitt East Lady Chargers, state champion runner-up. So just want to say hats off to them. And I think I've seen Bullitt Central maybe won some archery state championship too. But state champs, is that right? Archery, Bullitt. Okay, Bullitt Central. There you go, Faith. Archery. But just hats off to the schools and those. Those student athletes doing a phenomenal job in our community. We got so many people, that's it. And if you're in Mount Washington today, from 4 to 6, I'm gonna have some live music up at Central Garage and hand out RC colas and moon pies. So if you're up that late, stop by and say hello. But Bruce, I'll bring you one next time I see you. Okay?
You don't need it.
All right, but that's all I got.
Okay. Joey?
Just want to thank you guys. It's good to have some interaction. It's been a while since we've had some good interaction with people. And, I appreciate you guys taking off work, come out here and, vote, and to tell us that your needs in the county. Sometimes we get jaded, but we know. We live in the community and we're pushing. And we love to do everything. We'll figure out a way to make it right, for sure. You guys just keep on coming. It's good to see y'all smiling faces.
There you go.
Also, I want to say I've got one of my constituents back here, and I think he's president of the Beekeeper Association here in the county. So glad to have you here, Mike.
Bring you honey?
There you go. Anything else?
No, sir.
I would like to say something about the loss of the Shepherdsville K-9 Dash. I'm sure that that part of their department will be truly missed, and it's somewhere around 15 grand to be able to replace what I'm going to say a professional is that. So if anyone knows of anyone who would like to donate or contribute to the city, Dash has been in here at least once, and along with the Mount Washington K-9 as well. So he truly did his job and his work, and I know he'll be missed. So at this time, I don't need to join the court. Faith?
Can I say something on there real quick?
Sure.
Not to cut you off, but we all have a memorial service for Dash, and I think it's going to be on the 27th of this month. I will put it on the Shepherdsville City page, and my page also, but we've had the community has come out and they have been so good to us. The dog cost about $1,000 in the beginning before training. It's a pretty expensive dog, but he did do his job to save his life. Jeff Shake's life that night. Like I said, the community, we've had donation after donation. Not only that, people are bringing things in for Jeff and his family. It's just been an outpouring of the community that's very heartwarming to see that Bullitt County can still stick together no matter what. The life of a dog, some people said, oh, it's just a dog, we love that dog. He costs us a lot of money. Jeff Shake, it's cost him a lot. But thank you for saying about Dash. It's very sweet of you to do that. But again, I will put it on our page. It's going to be for the community. We're doing it on a Sunday, so people that work can come. But thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Faith.
Sure. Judge,
And, yes, sir.
if I may comment on that whole situation that night. We're talking here tonight, or today, and I'm hearing, we're talking about the various cities and the county and cooperation and warehouses and this and that and the other. And I want to relay a little bit, but there's the details. The Kentucky State Police is handling the investigation of that whole incident. And so detailed information should come from them. But just to give you a rough idea of what happened that night, there was a shoplifting event that happened up on the highway at the Dollar General store in Lebanon Junction. The guy who was doing the shoplifting shot at the police. The Lebanon Junction chief went there in response to that. He was shot at. From the Dollar General store up by the highway, if those of you that know where it's at, there was virtually a running gun battle that occurred from there down to close to the Lebanon Junction City Hall. Went down through the St. Benedict parking lot and down through a ditch line down there to in front of Daddy-O's Pizza in the Lebanon Junction Community Center. Now, there were, Shepherdsville responded. Officer Jeff Shank responded down there, and other Shepherdsville officers from Shepherdsville to Lebanon Junction to assist Lebanon Junction. The Bullitt County Sheriff's Office had 6 deputies on scene down there that night. But it happened on a Wednesday night, and that's the day that we have more guys working on that period. So we had a bunch of deputies. The Kentucky State Police came. Police officers from Mount Washington came. It was a tremendous cooperative operation from everybody. I had deputies that came. They were up at off Kings Church Road, and they went code 3 from Kings Church Road all the way to Lebanon Junction to get there to try to help. And where do these folks come from? Cody McCubbins, who came here today, that's where they come from. The people that are dedicated to serve all of you all of us, and they literally ran to the sound of the gunfire to try to save other police and keep that community safe. I've watched deputies getting out of the car, ma'am, go in your house, there's problems going on here, please go in your house, sir, go in your house, and then getting lined up to go down there to try to help Canine Officer Dash did exactly what he was trained to do. He did an outstanding job, and my heart that night and every day since has gone out to Jeff and his entire family, and the Blue family of Shepherdsville and the community family of Shepherdsville and Bullitt County over the loss of that dog. And I cannot commend the law enforcement community of Bullitt County enough, including the Kentucky State Police, for all of the coming together that they do on a regular basis to help each other and to serve the people of this community. And so we all owe them, all of the folks in law enforcement here, we owe them a tremendous debt of gratitude, because remember, and unfortunately it's going to get worse, because we live right at the line of one of the most violent communities in the country. Per capita, Louisville has gotten to where it is more violent than Chicago on a per capita basis. And resources that we're going to wind up having to put forward for public safety in Bullitt County is going to have to go up because the population goes up, the I-65 and being close to Louisville has brought good things economically in some respects to Bullitt County, but it has also brought bad things. Some of that being an increase in crime, and as it goes up, we're going to need more. But the Bullitt County law enforcement community shined that night, and we got a bad person off the street, and unfortunately, we lost a K-9 officer in the process. So anyway.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss land.
I'll second that motion.
Got a second by Magistrate Mitchell. Candace, call the roll.
Ms. Dawson?
Yes.
Ms. Boswell?
Yes.
Ms. Rayner?
Yes.
Judge Sullivan?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.